Hi guys, welcome to this week's video. Today I am going to be discussing with you the 3 things you need to consider when setting November resolutions. So I talked in a blog last week about the fact that this time of year is a real struggle for me, and what I'd realised more recently, this year in particular, that it actually has nothing to do with the food. The food is just a choice that I used to use, a mechanism that I used to use to cope with the emotion and the struggle that I felt. I would indulge, overconsume, and probably gain 10 to 20 pounds in probably a 2 to 3 month period every year. It's probably where a majority of my weight gain came from, because for the rest of the year, for the other 10 months, I was probably going back and forth with dieting and, just kind of plodding along. So I would always start January heavier than I was in September, and I would always pledge to start a New Year's resolution in January. But I'm one of the people that falls into the statistic who have given up by the end of January, or because my birthday's at the end of January, quite frequently I just never started, right? I would negotiate through 25 days and decide that I was just never going to start. So I don't set myself New Year's resolutions, but more recently in the last couple of years, I have still set myself goals. The last couple of years, I started to set my goals in November. I really, really enjoy this time of year. I really, really love it, despite the struggles and the emotion. But what I do is I try to look forward rather than reflecting on the past. So what I always try to do is set myself 3 to 5 new goals, short, medium, and long term, that I can really support my main focus for the next year. So this year is no different, and I've really dug deep and thought about what I want to do, how I'm going to help myself move forward, how I'm currently not helping myself, and I've decided, what my goals are going to be, and I will be sharing those with you this week. But first, I want to go through the 3 factors that you need to consider before setting yourself some goals. November resolutions, New Year's resolutions, goals, whatever it might be, these are the 3 things that you need to really think about. So number 1 is that you need to get honest with yourself. You need to dig deep and decide what is working and what isn't working, right? It's really easy to say, well, I'm kind of enjoying this, or it's kind of working, but you need to think, is it actually serving a purpose, right? If you're struggling to sleep, should you be on Facebook, scrolling through Facebook nighttime before you go to sleep? Or could you be switching your electronics off an hour before bed? Maybe you could be reading a new book, a book that's actually going to support your goals. These are things to consider. Get honest with yourself. If it's not working, why are you still doing it, right? We do it because we like to defend our excuses, but I ask you to get honest and really, really decide whether what you're doing is actually helping in any way. So to give you an example of my own life, a more recent, a very, very recent, in fact, November resolution that I have set myself is that I need to unsubscribe to some YouTube channels. I get emails all the time saying this person has posted a new YouTube video, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, I end up watching YouTube videos when I'm eating, right? Or when I'm eating my dinner or my breakfast or whatever it is. I sit at my desk right here, put a YouTube video on, and I will eat. Or I will take like half an hour. That's like my break. When actually I could be reading a chapter of a book, right? I could be doing something productive, journaling, reading, something like that. So I'm going to unsubscribe to a few YouTube channels that just don't really serve me, and I'm going to leave it until probably 2 to 3 months' time. Because one of my other November resolutions is that I want to complete my certifications. I've got 2 qualifications that I've started and not finished, and I want to get them done before the end of 2016. So I'm going to unsubscribe to these YouTube channels. I'm going to commit to not watching any YouTube videos throughout the next 2 months, and I'm going to get this stuff done, because this is about leveling up and about getting shit done, which leads me to my second point. You need to take action, right? It's no point in just like writing down, setting yourself some goals, and then not doing anything, right? The piece of paper can sit there as long as you like, but it's not going to actually get up and go and do it for you. So you have to take action. So get honest, take action. You have to take action and move forward. Progress is the process. No matter what your goal is, no matter what your motivation is, no matter where your focus is, whatever it is that you are trying to achieve, resolution, goal, whatever you want to call it, you have to take action, right? The hardest part is the first step. starting it, right? That's the hardest thing, because once you start it, you're like, oh, it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. Because so often we are plagued with fear of what might happen. We create situations and scenarios, and then we're so convinced that that's what's going to happen that we just don't do it. We're so paralyzed with fear of what might happen or what could happen or what we might look like that we don't take action. So get honest and take action. The third thing is to be realistic, right? Be realistic no matter what your goal is. So often when I think about the goals I used to set for myself that were weight related, I would never ever set myself a goal of like, I'm going to lose X amount of pounds, but I would so frequently say, this year, by the end of this year, I am going to weigh X. And I probably didn't even know at that point when I was pledging to do this what I actually weighed. So in 2010, I weighed 250 pounds. If I had said to myself, by the end of this year, I'm going to weigh 180 pounds, right? Or whatever it might be, that just like 70 pounds is a lot, right? It's a lot of weight to lose. But I didn't do that. Now, I didn't know that I wasn't doing that at the time. I just decided that I was going to do something. I was going to do whatever I could because I didn't want to end that year weighing more than I started out. And I was successful with that goal. Now, I had a bigger reason why. So what I ask you to do is be realistic with your goals, right? If your goal is weight related or health related, be realistic. And what you can do is set yourself one thing, right? So often we are trying to do 700 things and we don't know where our attention should be and our focus should be. We're all over the place. So taking one thing and getting really good at it for the next few months will make next year a lot easier. So I ask you, you've got 61 days left of 2016. What one thing could you pledge to do for the next 61 days and doing it consistently? Doesn't mean every day, but doing it 70 to 80% of the time, right? And getting it done, showing up, taking action, being honest with yourself about what's not working for you, and doing it for the next 61 days, right? If you get it done, you're going to start January on the right foot. You're going to start in a place where you don't need to start again because you're already taking action. You're going to already feel so accomplished. One of the reasons why so many people don't set New Year's resolutions now is because we end up setting ourselves up for failure, right? I ask you not to set yourself up for failure. Consider a November resolution. Just one thing that you can focus on for the next 61 days, or one thing that you can focus on for the next 12 months and get really good at it. Because the more action you take, the more progress you're going to make. And it's going to become a heck of a lot easier for you to feel motivated, because the more you do, the more action you take, the more motivation will follow. So my 3 tips for setting November resolutions, goals, whatever it might be, I ask you, get honest, take action, and be realistic. Guys, thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week.